Hey everybody, it is Brett Glover here with Real Life Trading Military, and I just wanted to make a quick video on the way that I approach Fibonacci, why I like it and how I use it. I'm going to make this as simple as possible because I do think it is a pretty simple concept overall. And so as we're looking at this right now, I think we've all seen this as a kind of a five-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, right? Impulse wave, corrective wave. And within those waves, we have, because everything's fractal as we've learned, right? We have 5 waves up, 2, 3, 4, 5, that make up this wave. And then we have an ABC pattern, ABC, that makes wave 1 and wave 2, of course. Then we have 5 waves up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And this could be a little bit of a rabbit hole. So we have 5 waves that make this wave, ABC, 5 waves, ABC, 5 waves, and then a larger ABC, right? So everything's fractal depending on what time frame you're looking at. So, but just in general, just understanding and remembering that an impulse wave is 5 waves up, and then we have an ABC corrective wave. Well, how I use Fibonacci and the Fibonacci pinball concepts, which is right here, is this just measures, starting with wave 1 and wave 2, projecting out the rest of wave 3, 4, and 5. And ideally, we want to be trading right in here on wave 3, because that's your impulse part of the wave, right? Where you get the most volume, you get the most price movement, things like that. So, I'm going to paste this here on the chart. Hopefully. Nope, it's not going to let me. Okay. Well, what I do is I draw from the top of wave 1 down to wave 2. And that helps me project out wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Okay? And the reason I do that is because it gives me a good sense of where we are at in the market cycle for whichever time frame that I am trading on at that very moment, right? And so I'm going to paste this right onto the screen here because I think this will be a little bit easier to run through with the visual. So let's see if we can paste this here. Yep. All right. So you can see when we're looking for a wave 1 and wave 2, right? We want to be coming off of a corrective wave down. And then we can look for that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to put that in orange. I did color code these. So this is wave 1 right here. And then some sort of an A, B, C. I'm not an Elliott wave expert. I don't claim to be. I go off of what makes sense to me, regardless if it follows Elliott wave rules to the T or not, right? So once I have that wave 1 and wave 2, I use my 3-point fib here. On TradingView, that is the trend-based fib extension, and that's where I run it from the bottom of wave 1 to the top of wave 1 to the bottom of wave 2 here. And that projects out, hey, where should wave 3 go, right? It should come up to the 1.618. Wave 4 should come down to the 100%. You know, wave 5 should end at the 200% level, something like that. There's a few adjustments in here, but my focus is I want to trade everything in yellow here, right? And so this is on the 15-minute chart. So if we hop over to a real-life example, I'll show you exactly what I was looking at on ES here this week. So, pasting this back on the chart. And so how do I define a 1-2, what I call, or what they call a 1-2 setup, right? A wave 1, wave 2 is a 1-2 setup. As I like to see wave 1 make a higher high, and then followed by a higher low. So if we look at ES, right, overall, we've been in a downtrend, right? So for this time frame, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, higher high, right? Now that has my attention. Higher low, right? So conceivably, I would think that we go to the most recent low, to the higher high, to the higher low, right? That's how I plot my fib, just like that. I do use a magnet feature because I do like it exact, right? So to me, somewhere within here, whether it's 5 waves, I really don't care. I care about the higher high and the higher low. Okay, so I'm going to call this, we'll call this wave 1 and wave 2. So let's just plot these out real quick. We'll put them in blue, just like the sheet is. So there's our wave 1 right there, because that's our higher high. There's our wave 2 right here, because that is now our higher low from this low here. Lower low, higher high, higher low, right? So this sets up, for me, this 1-2 setup, and this fib now projects out what the rest of this wave structure should look like. So if we open this up a little bit, so once we are at the low, where should wave 3 end? The full wave 3 should end, right around the 1.618 level, okay? On this screen, that's right here at 4654. So I'm just going to give an idea and plot my wave 3 up here. And if it hits there, where does the pass state should come down to? Wave 4 at the 100%. So let's just call that the 100% for now. We'll adjust these as we go into this, and I'll just move 5 out a little bit, up to the 200%. So, in theory, this is how 3, 4, 5. So, because we made this higher high and higher low, right now this is the 5-wave structure for this full move that I'm projecting on ES up to this 200% level, right? So I'm just going to lock these in now. So that covers the full move in blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So if we zoom in a little bit, how do we use this to our advantage? I do like using this on a macro scale. For day trading, I'll plot this on usually the hourly chart, maybe the 30-minute chart, sometimes a 15-minute chart. And so what does this tell us in here? Well, assuming this is wave 1 and wave 2, right? We should be coming up on this first leg right here. You're going to come up and you're going to reject and test off of either the 0.618 or the 0.764 most of the time. Sometimes it'll get up to the 100, sometimes it only comes up to the 50%. Again, use your best judgment on it. But in this instance, if it comes up to the 618, as it does on this graph, we can expect it to retest down to the 382. Does it always? No. But if it does hit the 618, it'll retest somewhere down here. And then I can expect it to trade up to this 1.236 level, right? Because we hit the 618. If we hit the 764 and go a little higher, everything else just shifts up 1 fib. So that if we hit the 764, now we would expect the retest down to the 50% and our wave 3 to go up to the 1.382, just shifting everything up 1. So if we take a look on our 1, 2 here, this red line is our 0.618. You can see we rejected pretty solidly off of that. That's a key piece of information for me. So now I'm expecting us to get up to the 1.236 level. Until we break out of this 764, which is why I have them in red, these are my market pivots, right? This is where I consider us to just be in chop. If I'm day trading, I'm pretty much just scalping. But once we break out of this level, right, that confirms to me wave 3 of wave 3, right? Wave 3 here of the larger wave 3. And that to me is where I was comfortable going with the trend trading if I could find an entry. And sure enough, on Monday, right here, we broke out of that level, a decent volume, and we started trading up. And where did we go to? Well, as we knew, according to our fibs, we should hit the 1.236. That's exactly what we did here. We came up and we made a double top right off of the 1.236 as the fib path guided us. So once we broke out, you could use the 3-minute chart, the 10 EMA strategy, whatever the case may be, whatever your preferred day trading strategy is, knowing where we're going on a larger time frame, you can use that smaller 3-minute time frame or whatever to day trade comfortably knowing, okay, here's where I think we're going. And that's exactly what we did. We came out, we broke out, we chopped around this 100% level, which is pretty common, and we broke out of that, and then we made a double top, right? So you could think of this as kind of a 1, 2, 3, chop for 4, 5, double top, right? Again, we could even lay the fibs out and see how that goes. I don't want to do multiple fibs here. I want to keep this as simple as possible. So now we're double topping off the 1.236, right? As we knew we would, or we should. Where does the fib path say we should go? Well, it says we should retrace down to this 0.764 level, right? Simply just following this guide. And what did we do? We double topped, we traded down, and we traded down and made a double bottom right off of this 0.764 level, right? We're still in wave 3, according to this, right? But we're just making our wave 4 here kind of chop zone. And it's following the fib path very nicely, right? We hit the 618, we came down, we didn't fully retest that 382. We even went a little bit below, which is fine. We also chopped around it here as well, which is another clue. But then we knew once we broke out of this market pivot that we would trade up to the 1.236. So you could have planned, hey, I'm going to day trade this long, until we get up to this level. Now I'm expecting us to retrace back down to this 0.764, which is exactly what we did here. And if the fib path holds true, where should we go from the 0.764? Fib Pinball says we should trade up to the 1.618, which is right here at 46.54. So come Monday, my plan on ES is going to be to, wait a little bit. We are retesting this double bottom here, as expected, but I'm fully expecting us to trade up, and I will plan on trend trading ES until we get up to this 1.618 level, at which point I can expect us to start our wave 4 of the full move in blue, and maybe chop a little bit coming down to, the something like this, right? Till we get down to this 100%, right? And then we start to curl back up, and maybe we'll even hit this 200% level, right? Are fibs exact? No. Do they work every time? Absolutely not. But for me, if I can have a little bit of the story of the charts, right? Just get a sense of where we are somewhat in this market cycle. Hey, I know I have a good 1-2 or what I think is a 1-2 here. I know we're going to be in chop a little bit until we break out of this 764 level. And then I know I'm comfortable trend trading till we get up here, or whatever the case may be. If we drop down to the 1 minute on ES, let's go here on the trade I took here today. Because I knew that we were coming down to the 764 level, and I saw that we were making this double bottom, I had a limit buy right here at 44.44. And I missed it by 2 ticks. Or no, maybe it was 44, was it 44, or maybe it was 44.42. Yeah, I think it was 44.42. And I missed it by 2 ticks. And my plan was, just because of the risk reward, there's a limit buy here and a stop below this level. With the plan to run my fib, if you can see, as we came down, lower low, lower low, lower low, higher high, but then we made a lower low. But here we made a higher high, and now we're making a higher low. So for me, higher high, higher low, that is my 1-2 setup. So I can run this fib. So let's lock this in here for a second. And again, now this is on the 1 minute chart, right? This works on all time frames. So if I paste back our fib pinball here, so let's just take this, and we will call this, for ease, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's leave these out of the way for right now. Okay. We just want to identify that now, just on the 1 minute, we are looking at 1 and 2, right? 1, 2. And that's where, from the low here to the top to the bottom, that I run that trend-based fib to project out the rest of the 5-wave move on the 1-minute chart, right? And so I missed my entry here, and we traded up, and where did we trade to? Started rejecting right off the 618 here. We got close to the 764, but this 618 certainly seems to be the zone. And so knowing that, we didn't quite retrace down to the 382, which is fine, but again, this is where technical analysis can come into play. Now let's just drop on our EMAs here. Knowing we have a 1-2 setup and a good risk reward, if you want to look at the 10 EMA strategy, right here. Morningstar, inside hammer candle, closing above the 10 EMA. Right? Technical analysis doesn't change. We just have a good idea of where the stock's going to head. You could have done an entry there and a stop there. Something like that, right? A 10 EMA strategy, all the fibs tell me is where are we in the market cycle. Well, I know in the broader cycle, the larger macro scale, I think we're in a trend on our way up because we double bottomed off the 764. Now we're going to the 1618 on that larger time frame. But I'm also seeing a smaller 1-2 setup here. Now I'm getting some alignment on multiple time frames. I can get in here using the 10 EMA strategy with a stop here. I don't necessarily have to worry about taking my profit at 1.2. I can plan on holding for wave 3, which is what we're in, till we hit that 1.618, which is where? All the way up at 45.28, which is exactly what we did, and that's where price stopped. How great of a risk reward would that be? Technical analysis doesn't change. Sorry, I should have locked that in. But you simply just know in the market cycle, where should price go? And in this case, I'm always going to target that 1.618, and that's exactly using the 10 EMA strategy, a 1-2 setup. I would have been comfortable just trailing my stop slowly along the way as we moved up until we hit my target here at the 1.618, right? If you miss this entry, like I did, what I ended up doing was watching us consolidate right here under the 764. If you remember, I said that until we break out of the 764 level, right, everything's kind of choppy zone in here. So my plan was to, once we break out, take an entry when we kind of start that, wave 3 of 3 push, if you will. And so I ended up getting in at 44.85. I think I had a stop somewhere down here, but I ended up riding that 44.85 up until this 1618, which I think it was 45.22 is where I got stopped out. I tried to hold for a little bit more, but I ended up getting stopped out. But that's why I was comfortable letting it trade up, letting it chop around here, right? Just keeping a little bit of a loose stop, telling myself, hey, this is where it should go. I'm trusting that fib pinball path and things like that. So, and that's exactly where that 5-wave moved end. So, had nothing to do with different technical analysis. I simply used it to say, hey, where are we at in the market cycle? Can I identify this 1-2 setup? And then everything else applies from there. One thing that you'll notice about this 1-2 setup, all it is, because we're looking for it after a downtrend or even an uptrend, we can take, this thing works the same on the downside. All this simply is this right here. As we all know it as the S-curve, right? Jeremy talks about the S-curve all the time. Get in on the bottom of the S-curve. Get in on the bottom of the S-curve. That's exactly what fib pinball does, right? We traded down. I just like to find the first S-curve to plot my 1-2 and project out the rest of the move all the way. So don't overthink it. It can be very a rabbit hole to go down if you try and use too many time frames, this, that, and the other thing. So keep it as simple as possible. Even if you wanted to use a 3-minute chart for your analysis, sure. I mean, you could find a 1-2 setup on the way down and play that. Let's just real quick. Let's look at this, right? We didn't make a higher high necessarily, but we did make a higher low. Could that work? Let's find out. Run 1 here, 2 there. So let's say you thought that was your 1-2 because you have a nice high wave. Entry at 45.27 with a stop here, and put your target where? Right at the 1.618. Yep, that could have worked. So really, overall, all it is, and how I use it, is I like to find a higher high and a higher low, and then plot my S-curve from there, and then just use standard technical analysis. And it just tells me, hey, where are we at in the cycle? One quick example I wanted to show was on Tesla, where I thought this could have been beneficial. So I'm going to take everything off. I'm going to take all my EMAs off, because this one's going to be to the downside. So we're going to plot our fib pinball on here again. So this is off the daily chart. And admittedly, I did miss this trade 100%. This is all hindsight analysis. But when we made a high up here, and we made a lower low, right? High, low, lower high, lower low, etc. You certainly could have done a 1-2 setup like this and played to the downside. Or if you look at this from a bigger perspective, we could have plotted it just like that, right? Knowing that, there we go. Knowing that we have a lower low and now a lower high, right? If we want to flip it on its head, if you have a hard time seeing the downside, right? We could say that we have a higher high and a higher low, right? If you want to look at it bearish, but from a bullish perspective. So we have that higher high and higher low. So where should we go? So here's our 1 and our main 1 and main 2 in blue. So let's project that out real quick. All right, so we have 1 here, we have 2 here, 3 we expect, let's just call it the 618. 4, something like that, and 5 maybe down to the 200% level. All right, I just like to map it out in my head ahead of time. So we have our 1-2, and now we're looking at the downside, right? We're right here. Where does price say that we should go? Somewhere around the 0.618, which we hit almost to the T on this lower wick here. Good. So we could look for retracement, because it should come back to the 382. So maybe we look for, okay, I'm comfortable taking a short right here, stop above here, and where should we go? Well, it should go to the 1.236, right? Since we hit that 618, we're planning on getting in on this retracement. We're going to put our target right here at the 1.236. So where does that bring us? Let's call that 794. We'll call that just right on 794.68. Boom. All right, so that's our 1.66 risk reward. Not great, not awful. Maybe we can switch on our EMAs. Look at that, we have our 10. It's a bull candle, closing below the 10 EMA. Sweet. So we could take a retrace here, or you could get the breakdown here. Again, I'm all about the retrace, that's just me. So maybe we lower our stop a little bit, something like that. We get above this pivot here. All right, we gapped over it and then we immediately failed. So that's 11.18, let's just call this 11.25. Now that offers a little bit better of a 4.4 risk reward, right? Just based purely on fibs. We know where we've come down, we know where we should retrace, and we know where our target should be based simply off of this fib path, right? We're here right now, we're trying to get the retracement as we come up, and we're going to put our target here at the 1.236. So let's let next candle go. All right, we got filled. Uh-oh. Okay, good. That was a little bit better. Nice little one black crow or engulfing candle. That's good to know. Chopping again, right? We're chopping because we haven't broken out of the 764. This is kind of the chop zone. Now we're starting to go. Volume's coming in. Awesome. Ooh, hammer there right off the 100. Could you move your stop? Sure. But I'm going to go ahead and trust the fibs. Retracement. Big candle down. Did we hit our target there? Low 792.01. Yep, we would have hit our target. Based solely off fibs. Now, throw in your other technical analysis, longer term moving averages, etc., etc. Of course, I cherry picked this example as I was looking through, but just goes to show if you know where you are in the market cycle based on the fibs, it gives you a better idea of where to get in on the 10 EMA strategy, right? And again, all this is simply is that, if I can get this thing to work, S-curve, right? As Jeremy always talks about. First move down, retracement, and then we're trying to catch that wave 3. An easy way to identify that too, if you like the EMA crosses, we made a high, we have an EMA cross down, okay, that's wave 1, I'm going to wait for that retracement now. Price retraces, and then you can take that for a short down. So, I do use the EMA's 821 crosses examples or ways to find those 1-2 setups as well. But again, how do we find it? High, high, lower, low, lower, high. 1, 2, that projects the rest of the 5 wave move down. Is that going to hit? Don't know, right? All I care about is playing this wave 3 move. That's what I'm looking for. So it works on the 1 minute, works on the 15 minute, works on the daily, works on the weekly. Just keep your time frame in mind and what you're trying to use it for. So I hope that helps. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always open to going over charts, how I see things. Again, it doesn't replace technical analysis or anything like that. It just gives me a good sense of where we're at with things. So that's all I've got for you. Appreciate you listening. And as always, have a wonderful week of trading, and we'll see you guys in the room.